Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is July 12, 2023, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the markets rotate. Japanese yen strengthens while the U.S. markets rebound. Now looking at today's major economic events. So we start the day at 2:30 South African time out of the United States. Core price index number coming out. That's a very important number. And then at 3 p.m. South African time out of Canada, we have a Bank of Canada rate statement coming out. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the British pound push higher after breaking out yesterday. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both rally. And looking at commodities, gold and oil forge higher. And looking at the stocks, well, Meta, Facebook is higher back on its highs, while Apple is still lagging behind. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to start with the Euro USD, and you see this pushover. We're looking at a daily chart to 110.35-ish level. Now the next resistance, as we look at it, I'm going to highlight it right up here. The next real resistance-ish level is 110.90. We're about 60 pips away from it, and we may kind of close that gap later today. So looking at a 4-hour chart, we had a little bit of a fake out yesterday as it didn't pass that 110.20-ish level, did respect it, and then retrace. So that looked like as if it was holding on to that resistance and then would retrace. But in fact, if you looked at the GBP, that was the one that took us even higher. So looking at the GBP first on a weekly, we're above the 200-day moving average. Remember last week we spoke about this. We hit that 200-day moving average, used it as a resistance level. We retraced and then used the 8-day moving average as a support and then bounced right off of it. And then we took off to new highs for the year. Now this is a massive comeback for the GBP compared to where we were a year ago. We were trading par, okay, just at par. GBP to USD, we were trading at parity, literally, okay? We were literally 1-to-1 versus the dollar, and you see this massive comeback. Now, looking at today, it's on its highs. You can't do anything about it. I wouldn't buy it here, but I wouldn't sell it either. And just if you miss the move, you miss the move. And I would wait for it to continue going higher, for it to retrace maybe a little bit, and then maybe consider jumping in. But the move has been made, and we did cover it. Now looking at the Japanese yen, this is another one. Japanese yen got much stronger versus dollar from 145 down to 139. Massive move for the Japanese yen, big comeback. And now this is all rotating at the same time. If we look at the commodities, they also gained nicely. We're looking at gold on a daily first as it hit that 30-day moving average, and look at it. Okay, it's breaking just above it. If it clears it and we go above this resistance-ish level of 1940-ish level, that means we'll be up in the upper 1900 level soon. Okay, if we look at crude oil, also testing that boundary on the top side at $75 a barrel. Now jumping into the US markets, we're looking first at a daily 34,400-ish level, about 200 points off of our highs of our resistance-ish level at 34,600, but a huge comeback for there, and that did hold that support level at 33,800-ish level and bounce right back off of it. That's a 600-point move. Now looking at the NASDAQ, this is where it becomes interesting, because if you look at the 8-day, which is the red line, and you look at the blue line, which is the 30-day moving average, and there's that crossover. Once that crosses over, once the short term crosses over the longer term, that is usually an indication of a new trend that is setting up on the upside. Now, we do have to have the stocks that follow through on it, and there's sometimes some fake out breakouts. So just keep an eye on this to see if it does really continue going higher today. We'll see a massive fluctuation in the markets to the upside, and that'll mean that some of these stocks like Apple, like Microsoft, will be bouncing off of it. Now, which stocks are pushing higher? Let's take a look at it. Facebook, look at that. On its highs at $298 a share. If we look at a daily, we're right back on our tops. If we look at a monthly, we're almost back to our highs of 372. I mean, look at how much we've made back. I mean, usually what happens is when you have a massive sell-off, usually come back 50%. This is not 50%. This is like 70%. And if we look, this was previous resistance before, okay? Before we made this massive push higher to 378-ish level, 380-ish level, we use this of 300 to be a resistance level. Let's see if we clear it. If we do clear it, the markets are going to go higher and everything's going to catch up. Looking at Apple, it retraced. We're looking at a weekly chart. It retraced back to its 200-day moving average. Didn't break lower, but I'm looking for it to hold the line and possibly push higher. If it will, that'll mean the market's going to go higher as well. Now, looking at the other stocks, not much doing here. Microsoft just bouncing off of that supportish level. If we look at Tesla, also just bouncing off of that once it closed the gap. Okay, it's bouncing off that 269-ish level, but nothing to really write home about. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, not much doing. I mean, we're still hugging this 30,500-ish level. We're at 30,600-ish level right now. No big deal. But today may become a big deal if the markets, kind of absorb some of the CPI, and if there's some positive light there, we may see some rotation in the markets. It's the Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.